Okay. Is everyone able to see my screen all right? Looks like, yeah, perfect. Okay. So today we're going to review what you need to do, the steps you need to take in order to successfully apply for financial aid for the graduate nursing program. So the very first thing that you need to make sure that you do is you fill out a Fafsa. For the fall 2021, you will need to complete the Fafsa 2021-2022 that is available at studentaid.gov. It could also be at fafsa.gov. I have put our on here as 004508. When you put the school code on the FAFSA, it is going to say University of Colorado, Denver, and that's completely fine. We share the school code, so we will receive your FAFSA with that school code listed on this form. So again, it's very important that you do complete the 2021-2022 FAFSA as soon as possible. It is live and available on the website. Now, one thing that you want to make sure that you do is you put a calendar reminder every October 1st for the duration of your program. You will want to make sure you log in and fill out the FAFSA for the next financial aid year or for the next academic year. And I say October 1st because that's when the FAFSA goes live every year. And it is first come any grant funding we may have, like the Colorado Graduate Grant. So it is very important that you submit that FAFSA as soon as possible every year. So every October 1st, go ahead and just put that calendar reminder on there to get that FAFSA done. So that's the very first step to getting financial aid, is filling out that FAFSA and putting our school code. The second thing you want to make sure that you do is once you gain access to your university email account and your student portal, which is the UCD Access portal, you will want to make sure that you're monitoring that. I feel like maybe someone's not mute. If you could please make sure to put yourself on mute. Okay, perfect. All right, so anyhow, you want to make sure that once you submit that FAFSA, that you are checking your university email account and your student portal. For the first year, you'll probably not get access to that for a few months from now, but every year after that, you do want to make sure that you're monitoring that, because if we need anything from you, we will notify you to either of those two places. And it's very important that you submit any documentation that we require so that we don't delay any financial aid awards. All right. So this section here is the cost of attendance. So this one is the current one, but we will put up the 2021-2022 cost of attendance in the next 2 or 3 months. It will be available on our website, which is listed here on this form as well. But this is the breakdown for our graduate programs here and the PhD program, and estimated tuition and fees, books and supplies, and everything else. So that I do know that a lot of our students like to plan ahead and they want to have an idea of what it's going to cost to attend the program. And so really, if you're just looking for tuition and fees, you can focus on just this section of the tables for your respective program, whether you're a resident or non-resident student. This total number here is for 1 year, one academic year. So it's not for the entire duration of the program, because we do put a new cost of attendance up every year. But do not be alarmed by this number here. The total is basically the cost of attendance that and cost of attendance includes not only tuition and fees, but books and supplies, health insurance, living expenses, transportation, all of those things. We build those into a cost of attendance to be able to provide as large a cost of attendance as possible, so that we can help cover these costs for you through any loans that are available. So just because you see, like for a resident student in the DMP program $45,000 here for one academic year, that doesn't mean that's what your tuition is going to be. That's the cost of attendance, including all of the direct and indirect costs associated with attending the program. I do have a more detailed breakdown of these tables here on our website, so I would definitely recommend to check that out if you have any, if you want to really see the breakdown and the credits that are calculated into these. All right. And so here at the bottom, I have estimated financial aid awards. And so this top one is Colorado Graduate Grant. It is very limited funding. It is first come, first serve, which is why it's important to fill out that FAFSA as soon as possible. And this is just, you don't have to do anything but submit the FAFSA. With that FAFSA, we will look into your eligibility and award you anything that you're eligible for. So you don't have to go outside of FAFSA and apply for something separate. So again, if you're a Colorado resident, we would award the Colorado Graduate Grant if you have the eligibility for it automatically. We also have the federal nursing loan, the unsubsidized Stafford loan, which is up to $20,500 for the year. That includes fall, spring, and summer if you're going to be enrolled in summer courses. And then the rest of your cost of attendance, as we've seen in the table above, is covered with a Graduate Plus loan. So Graduate Plus loans are credit-based loans awarded to our students. And so what that means is it's contingent on an approved credit check. And they're not really looking for a high credit score or credit worthiness. They're more looking at credit history. And so we just want to make sure that you're aware that the Graduate Plus loan, we do award it, but it's not 100% guaranteed because it is contingent on that approved credit check. If there is a possibility that you may not be approved for that, you do have an option to appeal credit decisions or to pursue an endorser or cosigner for your loan. So if you know that there may be a possibility of you not being approved, I would recommend starting to think of a backup plan, like a plan B, someone that could potentially cosign or endorse on the loan for you if it's needed when the time comes. Now, the Graduate Plus loan does not have an annual limit, so we are able to award you up to max cost of attendance or unmet cost of attendance every semester, as long as you're enrolled half-time or more. All right, and so the one thing I would suggest is we do have a Stafford loan lifetime limit of $138,500. Again, the Plus loan does not have either an annual limit or a lifetime limit, but the Stafford loans do. So I would recommend that you check your Stafford loan max at this point, just so you know if you're getting close to this amount here. And if you are, it's something to just kind of plan ahead that you may have to fund your program through Graduate Plus loans. Right. And then here it goes into the Graduate Plus loan requiring a credit check. And if your credit is denied, you may need that cosigner that I mentioned earlier. All right. So we go to this side of the handout inside the red box. Things to prepare for your first semester. We definitely recommend to plan ahead and basically save for any moving expenses you may have, save for your month's rent, the first month's rent if you are moving, for books and supplies, because we don't want you having to wait on financial aid to be able to purchase your books. We don't release financial aid until the first week of classes. So it's, for a lot of our students, we know that you like to do your reading ahead of time. And so for these types of expenses, we do recommend for you to save ahead. I also want to remind you that when you do get a financial aid award, it is going to be for the year, meaning fall, spring. So what you accept will be split in half. You will be given half in the fall and the other half in the spring. Summer will be awarded. If you are interested in work study, which basically works like a regular, find a job off campus or on campus that allows work study, and you get paid as you earn the money on a biweekly basis. You don't have to use these funds for school purposes because they're directly deposited into your account, but it does work like a regular job. If that's something that you're interested in, you would do two things. The first thing is on the FAFSA, you would indicate, yes, you are interested in work study on that question. And second, you will fill out a work study request form with our office. All right. This does count towards your cost of attendance. So if you accept 100% of the financial aid we give you, we will reduce the Graduate Plus loan to make room for a work study award. All right, if we do require any documentation from you, just make sure that whatever you provide to our office electronically, you are using the document submission tool available on our website as a secure upload. It's just because any documentation that we need may have any financial information that needs to be protected. So we just want to make sure that any document that we need, we are getting in a safe way, which is through that secure upload or document submission option online. The other thing we recommend that you do is you set up direct deposit with the Bursar's office. So basically, when you gain access to the student portal under the Bursar's office, you will be able to set up direct deposit. This makes it so that you get any refund that you're entitled to. You get that faster than if you don't set up direct deposit, because otherwise the Bursar's office, which is our billing department, will have to mail you a paper check, and that's taking a while to get out to students. So setting up direct deposit is the way to go if you know you're going to be using financial aid to help cover your living expenses. All right. And then the other thing is health insurance. So you are required to have health insurance and health coverage. And so because of that, you will automatically be charged the student health insurance. If you do not want this insurance, you want to make sure and maybe put a calendar reminder sometime in July to check your student email and be on the lookout for an email from the Student Health Insurance Office. That office will email you a link that indicates if you are going to waive out of the health insurance, you need to click on that link and follow the prompts that you're given. So again, just put a calendar reminder that if you do have your own health insurance, you will actively have to opt out of the school's health insurance. Otherwise, you will be billed for it. Okay, so, and that's going to happen sometime in July for the fall admins. So just make sure that you're on the lookout for that email. So you can make sure that you waive that health insurance by their deadline. All right, down here on the bottom side of this handout, I just have our physical location, which currently we are working remotely. So it's just so you know where our physical office is. But the best way to get a hold of us currently is via our email, which is listed here, and our phone number. So we do have advising hours Monday through Friday, and they have varying hours there. You do not have to schedule an appointment to speak with us. Just give us a call during these advising hours, and we'll be able to help you with any questions that you have. All right. So here I go over types of financial aid. We do have those grants, the Colorado Graduate Grant that we automatically award if you are eligible. We do also have, once you accept any federal aid, the first year you will have to complete the entrance counseling and master promissory note for us. And so I did put the website to complete that there. You don't have to complete it now. You can wait until you have a financial aid award. But basically the entrance counseling goes over information relevant to your loans. There's a quiz you have to pass along with it. And then I would say that takes about 40 to 45 minutes to be completed. And then the master promissory note is basically the contract between you and Department of Education where you are promising to pay back these loans. So both of those things will need to be completed in order for us to release your aid. So just remember that once you are awarded financial aid, you have to accept the aid that you want. And then on top of that, you do need to complete both of these things before we will release any aid. Right? Delay in completing this will result in a delay in receiving any financial aid that you've accepted. Now, I do have students, it's not as often, but if you guys are interested in private student loans, which is basically a loan through any lender of your choosing, we do have information about these types of loans here on this website, but it's typically for graduate students. I've noticed most students tend to go with the Graduate Plus loan because it's already part of the award. But if you choose to go via a private student loan, just know that we will work with any lender of your choosing for that. And we still won't be able to award you over cost of attendance. So the cost of attendance is a set number. All right. And then maintaining good credit. I have this section here because, as I mentioned earlier, the Graduate Plus loan is contingent on an approved credit check. So what we recommend that you do is that you review a free copy of your credit report at annualcreditreport.com. It's a good idea just to take a look at it to know what's on your credit report, what history you have on there, and it gives you an idea, if it's somewhat low, that you may have to plan ahead and look for an endorser or co-signer. And then this here is cashcourse.org, a nice tool for our students to help manage your cash if you need a budgeting tool. And the reason why we put this on here is because, as I mentioned earlier, a living allowance or living expenses are built into your cost of attendance, but it's about $2,200 a month. And so you want to make sure that if you're going to be using our living expenses, that you stay within this range. Otherwise, you're going to be short towards the end of every semester. And we would hate for that to happen. And so you want to make sure that you're kind of budgeting out. And that's why cashcourse.org would be a helpful tool. All right, and then down here, I just went ahead and put all of the information for offices that you should be aware of. The Bursar's office, again, is billing. So they're the ones that would charge the tuition. They're the ones that would issue those refunds. So there's their phone number there if you're interested in reaching out to them. If you have questions about direct deposit or any of those things. For those of you that are VA or veterans, I have the information for the VA office if you're using any type of GI Bill, just so that you're getting in contact with them and making sure that you're getting everything in place so that it's a smooth kind of process. I have these website here for completing the Fafsa, and the website, which is the same one for checking your student loan history, making sure that you're not close to that $138,500. And if you are, you just want to plan ahead and know that you'll need the Graduate Plus loan. I have put the registrar's office, their phone number is right here. This is for students that maybe you're already in repayment for any of your undergraduate loans. Once you enter the graduate program at our school, you will be able to put any loans into deferment, meaning in-school deferment, where you won't have to make monthly payments because you are now in a qualifying program. So the registrar's office is the office that completes those loan deferment forms if you need to submit those to them. They also look and complete residency if you're going from non-resident to resident for tuition purposes. So if you have any of those questions, this is the office to reach out to, the registrar's office. And then here I went ahead and put the email for the student health insurance office. If you wanted to reach out and see if maybe the insurance that you have is comparable to covering what the school needs you to be covered with. So they're the office that you would reach out for that. And then down here, I just have scholarships. Some websites like fastweb.com, scholarships.com, they are reputable websites. However, they spam you a lot. So I recommend that you set up a dummy email account for any of these search engines, because if you don't want to have it tied to something important like your student email address, because you'll get a lot of spam email. For internal scholarships, if you're interested in those, I would recommend reaching out or being in contact. I'm sure China, there's like some sort of forms sent out or notifications once internal scholarships are available for College of Nursing. So you just want to make sure that you're monitoring their website to see when those scholarships go live. And then ultimately, I did put the portal address here. Again, you won't have access to this until you're admitted into the school and matriculated into the system, but it is on there for you to have. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take questions now. And let's see here. It says, so yeah, somebody was asking if financial aid is split across the entire year, including summer. So yeah, so when we initially award you, the award is going to be split between fall and spring. And then if you're enrolled in summer, we will award you a summer award separately. Let's see, Erin asked, are College of Nursing scholarships received for in-state residents? So scholarships for College of Nursing, I don't think there's a main difference between resident and non-resident, but I would defer to College of Nursing for that. Let's see here. Oh, China went ahead and put scholarships are for all of our active students. Okay, so then we have, did you say the amounts listed for tuition and fees is per semester or per year? So on the form that I have on here, this is going to be for the year, the tuition and fees, but there is a breakdown of it per semester at that web page on the form. Okay. Somebody asked about international students. So yeah, the Fafsa, depending on the type of visa you're on, the Fafsa is only for US residents or citizens. And so there's very specific type of visas. So it's not intended for international students. But if you have any questions about whether or not you qualify, you can always give me a call and I'll verify. Okay, and then what about books and supplies? Is that per year? So yeah, that should be the amount for the year. And again, the breakdown per semester is on our website.
I ask a question about the grants. So at my previous school, pretty much everyone received a standard amount. Is there sort of, and I know this spans from 1,500 to 5,000. Is there a typical amount that people get?
There's no typical amount. It really comes down to what our grant funding looks like for the year, which is currently being reviewed, and what your expected family contribution is to determine what tier you fall under for that. But the Colorado Graduate Grant is very limited. So it's not something that is given like straight across the board to all students. Okay, so I am a non-resident of Colorado, but moving to Colorado the first week of March. When would the earliest I can apply for in-state residence and tuition? So I'm not sure. I do understand that you have to be living here for 12 consecutive months in order to qualify for the residency appeal. But I would recommend reaching out to the registrar's office so they can give you that information. Just because I know with COVID and a lot of the DMVs being closed for a good amount of time last year, there are different types of rules put in place, but I do understand it's still the 12 months. I just don't know what kind of paperwork they require. So I would definitely reach out to the registrar's office about that. All right. Let's see. Of course. Any other questions?
Yeah, online I saw that the tuition amount per credit increased about $21 from 2019 to this year. Is that pretty typical just for budgeting like the following years?
Yeah, I would, it is typical for the tuition to increase on a yearly basis. It's just the amount could be a little differ a little bit. So typically it's safe to assume about, $50 to $100, but it is typical for an increase.
Okay, and then one other question. I was looking at the fees, and it's like the mandatory student fees versus College of Nursing student fees. And there was one that's, I think, under the general college, it says $100 per online course. Is that, and I know a lot of our classes are online, but then under the nursing, there's also a $100 fee for distance education interactive TV course. So I was wondering, does that mean we're paying like $200 per class, or how does that work?
Yeah. So I'm not sure, China, if this is one that you would be able to answer, depending on what the curriculum looks like, if there's going to be online courses that are required. But I feel like I'm not sure on that one. I wouldn't be able to answer it.
And to be honest, I'm not quite sure either. I'm pretty sure we're not double dipping with how we're charging the fees, but I do know that, a good portion of the curriculum is exclusively online. And so in those instances, you will have an online fee that you pay for those courses. For the hybrid courses, which are some of how your courses are defined if you are an advanced practice student, you will pay a portion of a fee basically for that delivery. So it just depends on the type of course that you are enrolled in. As I mentioned, a good part of the first year of your curriculum is online exclusively. And then you will have additional courses that are hybrid in delivery. So that cost is a bit less, but there is still an online kind of cost associated with those with that particular coursework.
Okay, so it's probably safe to budget than like $100 per course.
I would say yes, in terms of what that looks like on a pretty consistent basis.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you. Just wanted to make sure we weren't like getting charged by both.
Sure thing.
Right.
Yep.
Right. But it's always safer to over budget, just so that you are a little more prepared in the event that these fees are a little bit higher than anticipated. But typically they're really reasonable. And yeah, I wouldn't expect like a double charge.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. All right, any other questions? Okay, so it does look like another question is coming up here.
Right now, it is totally appropriate for you to come off of mute if you'd rather, verbally present your question versus typing it. That way, we can kind of keep the conversation live.
Okay, I think that was me. I was trying to figure out how to unmute.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay. So I applied to the postgraduate certificate. Would I still be eligible for these loans as well as scholarships? I don't know if that's different from being enrolled in the MSN.
Yeah. So as long as you're in a degree seeking program and you haven't met your lifetime limit for the Stafford loans of $138,500, then yes, you would continue to be eligible for federal aid. And then, if you have met your Stafford loan limit, then we would go into Graduate Plus loans to fund your program. But it's not specifically for like the MS program or something like that. It's as long as it's a degree seeking program, which College of Nursing does have degree seeking programs. And yeah, it would be considered a degree seeking for China here. So then there would be no problem with financial aid. It's just, are you at your Stafford loan limit? If so, then we're going to fund the program through Graduate Plus loan most likely.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Of course.
So to follow up, I know you when I was asking you earlier about the grant, and it's not sort of a blanket number that everyone's offered, but is there an average? Like, do people usually, I don't know, if you are granted it, is it on the higher or lower range?
It's really hard to say because we don't know the amount of people that will qualify for it on a yearly basis. And we don't know what our funding is like until that review is completed. So it really could range between both, between 1,500 up to 5,000. Typically, it could be, anywhere between 4,000 to 5,000, but that could change depending on the amount of students we have eligible for it.
Okay, and then if you were to qualify for summer grant, would it be like half of the amount that you are awarded for?
Yeah, and that's a great question. We actually, because the Colorado Graduate Grant is such limited funding, we actually don't award it for the summer because by the time summer comes around, those funds are all exhausted.
Okay, great. That's helpful. Thanks.
Mhm.
And then, so for the FAFSA, I had completed it last year because I just finished my undergrad. So that means that I don't need to complete it again.
You do. You would need to complete for this graduate programs, starting in the fall, you would need to complete the FAFSA 2021-2022. So yeah, you do need to complete a new FAFSA every October 1st.
Okay, but not till October. Okay, great. Thank you.
Well, the 2021-2022 FAFSA has been live since last October. So you do want to fill it out as soon as possible.
Okay, I think I've already filled that one out. That's why I was wondering.
Oh, okay. So yeah, just make sure, go into studentaid.gov and make sure that you did the 2021-2022 because there's currently 2 live. There's a 2020-2021, which is the one for this year and this summer. And then there's a 21-2022, which is the one that's effective for the fall 2021. So you want to make sure that you completed the latter because that's the one that we're going to need for the fall semester.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to confirm that we can fill out the FAFSA before being accepted to the program, or do we have to wait in order to use that code?
No, you do not have to wait. You can go ahead and submit the FAFSA now and put our school code on there to make sure that we get it once you're admitted. But there's going to be no harm to your application by submitting the FAFSA now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And you use the FAFSA for the grant, correct?
Yeah, for grant and loan funding.
Okay.
Do we have to submit a certain form for in-state tuition to make sure that, or how do we figure that out?
So if you're a non-resident student, then yes, there will be a residency appeal that you would have to fill out with the registrar's office to apply for residency. But if you have questions as to whether or not you would be considered a resident student, you can reach out to the registrar's office and they'll be able to answer that for you.
Okay, so I was just wondering if we have to fill out something that states our residency.
Yeah.
Will, good question. And this, you're a little premature in all honesty for the form going out to this current population of students. You all are in the applicant phase and moving into the interview stages as well. So that information about what you need to do for admission and determining your residency for tuition classification will be sent to our admitted class. So you're just a little bit early in terms of that. And as soon as we're able to offer you admission and send some of those follow-up details, it will include getting your residency determined. And in essence, filling out a form that has really some real easy yes or no questions on there to determine that. And that is all, processed in essence by our registrar's office. And I think Joe had mentioned, if there's questions about your residency status, where to reach out to, and I will find that email for you all and stick it on there, but it's within our registrar's office that they can address your specific questions. Maybe you're here on a military assignment or something of that nature and you want to find out, do I qualify for in-state tuition or for resident tuition versus out of state? So they can take care of those questions, but there is a point in our process where we will, make sure you have that form to complete.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I see somebody asking if there's a deadline to fill out the FAFSA. There is a deadline, but the deadline is a year after. It won't be until next year that you have the deadline for this current 2021-2022 FAFSA. So really what I would say is just fill it out as soon as possible, because again, it is first come, first serve for any grant funding. And we typically run out of grants pretty early on. Okay, and so Tessa asked, can we also apply for scholarships right away if we don't know if we made it into the program for a couple of months yet? And then China did confirm that they open College of Nursing scholarships 3 times a year. So I would just be mindful of any information coming from College of Nursing to know when you can apply for those internal scholarships. But external scholarships you can apply for already. They're all out there, so that's something you can do. And let's see here, there will be an open call to apply for fall scholarships in late spring. So just keep an eye out for that, because there will be some communication regarding those fall scholarships coming up soon.
And I just meant kind of externally. So just to echo what Joe had meant. If there are open scholarships right now externally, please apply for them now. There's no harm in doing so. But the ones that go out to our student body, again, we want to make sure that you're an active student, so that we've invited you to, for admission for the fall term, and then that will go out to all of our current active students, and then those who've been invited for that upcoming cohort admission.
So online, the cost for credit for 2020 to 2021 is $711. So does that mean we should estimate by spring 2022 that there'll be an increase of $50 to $100 per credit?
Let's see. It looks like, I would assume so, but I wonder if it'll be for fall.
I think normally it's somewhere, I think what they've given us in the past is, and I apologize for some of that background noise, there is usually a 3 to 5% annual increase per academic year. And the academic year for fall of 21 through summer of 22 begins, in September. So I believe that you should plan an increase to happen for that semester that you'd be admitted, fall of 2021.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right, anyone else? Okay, so I would like to say that if you have any other questions that come up at a later time, feel free to give me a call to that phone number listed on your handout. If you have any type of circumstance like where you'll need help with childcare, funding childcare and those types of things, go ahead and give me a call. We can discuss any potential eligibility for any appeals that we may have. Now, keep in mind that these costs are usually covered through loans. And so, it's better to talk about it because it would only be increasing loan debt. But if it's necessary, then there's something we can do about that. But I will be your liaison. So if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out at any time, and we can kind of just specific circumstance. Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your participation, and you have a great day. Bye.